Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the Charleston AMA and broadcasting from our friends at Charleston Media Solutions Studios. From business and art to hospitality and tech, these movers and shakers choose to call the Lowcountry home. So what's their story? Let's find out together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, powered by the Charleston AMA. We're coming to you live from the Charleston Media Solutions. I think we're live.
Yeah, we're pre-recorded, but we can tell people we're live.
I'm alive. I'm alive. Massive thanks to them, the Charleston Media Solutions, for sponsoring the show. We've got to also thank our annual sponsor, the South Carolina Research Authority.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. My name is Mike Compton. I'm your immediate past president of the Charleston AMA and currently president of Roombo.co. And thrilled to be here with my co-host, Tom.
Yes.
Tom K.
How you doing?
I think we got the dream team together, Tom. No offense to the other co-hosts.
Yeah,
we're going to knock their socks
none intended,
off.
but yeah, this is
Tom,
going
say hello.
to blow people
Introduce
away.
yourself.
I'm not wearing socks, though, so his socks have already been knocked off.
But knock something else off then. All right, that's fine.
So I'm Tom Kepler. I'm Director of Communications for the Center for Ayers Property, ayersproperty.org. Today we've got my good friend, Cate Mayer, who we actually met at karaoke at the Starlight Lounge about a year ago, and our paths have crossed in so many different ways. But I'd love to introduce you, Cate, if that's okay by you.
Please do.
All right. You are founder and executive director of Be the Ones, which is a grassroots organization that's reimagining civic participation as a creative, community-driven movement across South Carolina. Rather than seeing civic engagement as something reserved for election years, like this one, you challenge us to think about it as something we practice every day through storytelling, relationships, and the places where we live and work, like down here in the Lowcountry. Over the past 2 decades, you have worked across both the nonprofit and for-profit worlds, helping organizations build stronger communities through strategy, creativity, and authentic connection. You're also the founder of Lila Jane Consulting, where you help mission-driven organizations grow their impact. If you were at Creative Mornings Charleston recently, you may have seen Cate speak about building belonging and the power of community. If you haven't seen that, go to YouTube or the Creative Mornings Charleston website. That's worth checking out to the ends of the earth. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation that feels especially relevant for marketers because at its core, marketing isn't just about reaching people. It's about bringing people together around something that matters. And what matters more than civic engagement? Cate, welcome to the CAMA cast, the CAMAcast.
CAMAcast.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
That's a lot going on there, Cate.
Yeah.
How and what? And I just want to know about all of it, actually. Help me out here.
We got limited time, but hey, we can knock our socks off on that conversation.
Right. Start with Be the Ones. Start with Be the Ones.
Yeah,
tell me about that and where that came from.
Yeah, so Be the Ones was born out of, actually, 6 years ago this week, one conversation. You know, I think a lot of times we think that organizations, our businesses are founded with a strategic plan or business model or this, complex. I think about watching like NCIS right up on the wall. And that's not how Be the One started. Be the One started in July of 2020. I was getting folks registered to vote, volunteering, and I called someone in Raleigh named Beth. Be the Ones is actually named after Beth. And Beth said, I don't talk politics. I don't vote, not interested. And we were on the phone for 45 minutes. At the end of that call, she registered to vote and said, if I had a friend like you years ago, maybe I would have voted sooner or been involved. And that was the moment that I realized that there were Beths all over the country that just needed someone to have a conversation that felt like they belonged, that someone would engage with them. And so the first evolution of Be the Ones was born out of that. It was a volunteer-led initiative leading into the 2020 election. Once we got past the election, I really realized that there was an opportunity, but I didn't want to build a nonprofit and organization that I thought was a great idea. I wanted to build something that I really felt was born out of community. So I spent months having over 700 conversations with folks across the South, trying to pinpoint what the information and participation gaps were in civic engagement and voting. And what I started to realize was there wasn't a, this lack of engagement in civic participation. It was not because people were not motivated. There was a user experience. problem,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And there was an information problem. And so people didn't see themselves as belonging in what civic engagement or voting looked like. They didn't feel like they had a community to participate. And then we have this combined issue across the country, but really in South Carolina, where we have a civic information health crisis, right? I have grown up with learning disabilities my whole life, so I always think of analogies, right, and try to paint the picture for folks. And I want you to think about, Tom, you asked me to come over to your house for dinner, but you don't give me the address. You don't tell me where you live. You don't tell me if I'm going to need a new tank of gas to drive as far as I need to get. And then you expect me to show up on your doorstep with a smile on my face and thrilled that I'm there. It's the same thing we do with civic engagement and voting, right? We don't give people the information and the resources and the community and the support for them to participate. And so that's really was the evolution and idea behind Be the Ones. And we're going into our 4th year as a nonprofit.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. August is our birthday month. And what we have found is that people are craving community. People are craving an opportunity to participate. And I think what we do is really important, but how we do it is what really is special and differentiates us as an organization.
Okay. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to center our work through joy, creativity, art, music, comedy. We do a comedy and conversations event. We do karaoke with our legislators event. We try to bring joy and excitement and fun into it. I think a lot of people feel, and I honestly, I know, we're on a marketing podcast. I'm going to use some marketing lingo here.
Marketing head just exploded.
We've branded civic engagement and voting as something dry and boring and stale.
100%.
Right?
Yes. Jail-like. Like you
Yeah.
don't want to go to this thing.
Yeah, it's
You know
like
what I
jury
mean?
duty
Like,
and voting are in the
jury
same
duty, thank you.
sentence.
Maybe it's a little too far to go to jail, but
Totally.
jury
I mean,
duty.
Right,
we had some
right.
of our young folks go to a school board meeting and they were like, the chairs are so uncomfortable. There's fluorescent lights. It's stale. It smells like old people. And I was like, well, you're probably not wrong
Hey,
on any
what
of
does
those
that smell
assumptions.
like?
So what if we rebrand it, right?
Right.
What if we rebrand
What if
civic
we turn it
engagement?
into Hollister? So there's like loud music
I'm
and
down
like
for
good
it.
sense. Yeah.
Well,
Listen,
it sounds like that's what she's after.
any
Yeah.
marketers listening that
Really
want to
cool.
help us continue to rebrand,
Absolutely.
be
so
the
how-
ones.org.
Get the
Your
Sign us up.
going.
nonprofit. And what was the .org?
Say it again.
What was your .org?
One more time.
Your
Be the
.org.
ones.
What was your .org?
BeTheOnes.org.
And then so do you have a board? Do you need people to join your committees? Do
Yeah.
you need help on that end? Your
We
marketing
need
committee?
it all. We need
Yeah.
it all. We really
You're
are.
the executive director, CEO?
Yeah,
Yeah.
as the executive director. So we are a small grassroots organization. So we're funded primarily by grants, institutional funding, and individual donors and grassroots donors. Like all nonprofits this year, we have seen a dramatic decrease in grant and institutional funding. It is a massive crisis that the nonprofit sector is seeing across the country.
Hear, hear.
And really trying to reimagine how we sustain. And that's not just a Be the Ones situation, it's all nonprofits. And we need y'all to believe that you can be part of a community and civic engagement and come join us at an event. We've got volunteer opportunities. We've got business partnership opportunities.
And it sounds like an all ages type of thing too, right?
Yeah, so our programming is really focused in two true primary areas. Our civic learning and education program is really for all South Carolinians. How do we provide you the resources and the information to participate? And then our young leaders program is for the rising generation, which we define as under 30. And that programming is really how do we build the rising generation with the information and the agency and leadership skills to be civic participants in our community. But we are for anyone that wants to learn and participate. We'd love to chat and have you part of our community.
And you've got a chapter here at the College of Charleston, right?
Yeah. We've got now several college chapters across the state. Our first one was College of Charleston, and they're revved up and ramped up and
Fired up, ready to go.
They're ready to be civic.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are ready. They are. They're already
I
there.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So Charleston has an incredible sense of community,
Yeah.
and as three transplants gathered here around the microphone, I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
we
That
could
was the
all
next question.
talk
Where
about
y'all
that.
from?
Don't anyone judge us for that.
So
We're not from Ohio.
is there? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You said it out loud.
Yeah. So
I'm from
is there one local place that stands out to you that really that's in your mind represents what like community really means?
Right.
I love this question because I think I'm going to answer it, but I think part of the challenge that we find in our society and our culture in our country today is the loss of community spaces, the loss of third spaces, the loss of civic spaces, the loss of gathering spaces. There's a great book called Bowling Alone, if you haven't checked it out. It's like 900 pages, but it is a phenomenal book. And it's this whole theory of the loss of community and society when we've started to lose bowling leagues, right? Bowling leagues back in the day used to be the community gathering, right? You went to the bowling alley, you met with your friends. It was that sense of community.
Yeah.
And we've lost that.
Shared commitment to bad shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, all the things.
Al
Yeah.
Bundy was there. Remember that?
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of where the challenge that we find ourselves is so many communities don't have that anymore. But here in Charleston, we have one of the opposite, which is, I would say, is Park Circle. You know, it is a community that is diverse. It feels like everyone is watching out for each other. You know, you walk down the street and people want to talk to each other's dogs. You know, we've also lost the sense of engaging and talking to each other, and I think part of that is the pandemic and what has happened with technology and social media over the last many years. But we have lost the art of just saying, "Hey, how are you?" Right. I remember as transplants, when I first moved here 11 years ago, I was checking out at the grocery store, and the woman's like, "How are you?" And I was like, "Great, okay, I got it." And she was like, "No, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, you really want to? Oh, you want to engage in conversation?"
Yeah.
And I think Park Circle embodies that so much. Of it's a container and a place, and the businesses are so connected in ensuring that they create that container of community for each other.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate, what's
And
the
it's
book
home
called
for
again?
me, so you know.
Oh, there we go.
I had to put that little spin on a.
It's a beautiful spot. What's the name of the book again?
Bowling Alone.
Bowling Alone.
Bowling Alone.
I got it.
Robert. It starts with a P, but I'm blanking on his last name. But Bowling Alone.
Audible it. Robert P. Bowling Alone.
Bowling Alone. It's a great book. It's really long. It is there's a lot of data,
I've got all the time
but
in the
it's a
world.
great thesis and highly recommend it.
So, you know, we're obviously on a marketing podcast, so we'd be remiss not to at least touch upon marketing. And so, you know, so much of what you do revolves around sort of building a community, like we were just talking about, and sort of building a culture of trust. So what's the difference between that and just building an audience?
Yeah. Well, I think you need both, right? I think without an audience, without bodies, right, or voices, or you can't be successful.
Followers,
in anything, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think when folks are focused on building an audience, it is about them, right? Whether it's the brand, the business, the organization. When you're building community, it is this larger purpose, right? It is for something greater than any one individual brand or organization or company. And I think, attention is expires. Attention expires. You're going to lose everyone's attention at some point if you do not have their trust.
Right.
Attention, I think we also live right now in a place where, and marketers may disagree with me on this, but it's so easy to buy attention right now, right? With algorithms, with technology, with ads. I mean, you get people's attention in ways that we haven't in decades before us. But can you sustain that attention is the question. And I don't think you can without trust. And I think, is it harder to build audience attention or trust? The answer is trust, right?
Yeah,
trust
100%.
is based on feelings. It's based on relationship.
Yeah.
It takes so much time to build trust.
Yeah.
And I think equally, it takes so much time to rebuild that trust. And I think a lot of that's what we're feeling in our work in South Carolina is so many people have lost trust in these systems and these structures that are supposed to make life easier, that you can't ask someone to be part of the community and the audience without rebuilding that trust first and continuously showing up and not just making them feel like they're important in one conversation. We're in an election year, right? I just need you right now because it's an election season. Knowing that we're going to show up again in January or February.
Sure. Yeah, I think the other component I would add to this, and I'm wondering if you would agree, is dialogue.
Yeah.
Right? Like so often, not just politicians, but brands writ large, right? Talk at people and say, buy this product, sign on to this agenda, vote for me in November, whatever that might be, without engaging people and say, what's
100%.
important to you? And not only listening once, but also creating a forum for those
Yes.
followers, that audience, to engage with one
Yes.
another around that shared topic.
Yeah.
Is that something that's important to you and to Be the Ones?
100%. I mean, it is at the core of our values and what we do. But I think you're exactly right. I think, you know, I can't believe I'm going to use this analogy, but I'm going to use it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I am not a Swiftie, let me be clear. But I think when I think about audience, I think about music, right? And you want people to show up to a concert, and they are showing up because who is on stage. But there is a difference with a performer or a musician who's created an opportunity for the people, not just to hear them sing or perform or whatever it is, but there is this sense of community, right?
Yeah,
and they
this
continue
shared
to
sense
show
of
up.
purpose and belonging.
And
yeah.
equally important, they create different roles for every member of that community. So if you think about Taylor Swift, and again, I cannot believe I'm using this analogy, but here we
I
are,
follow you.
is she isn't just a singer or performer, right? She has created all of these opportunities for her fans to feel like they are part of the community. And she's organically, without saying, your role is to be the bracelet maker. Your role is to be the social media person. Your role is to be the costume, whatever, right? Yeah. She has organically created this community and this feeling of belonging that then all of these people across the world have taken on these roles. And then the audience grows from that, right? And she continues to show up that way. And I think she's done an excellent job of, you know, she probably hasn't gone to 500 coffees with her fans. I don't know. Maybe she hasn't. We don't know. But listening, really listening to what her audience and her community want and need. And she fills that void. And I think we've lost that. To your point, we've lost that sense of listening in every part of our society.
If you really break it down, it's all about communications.
And communication.
I mean, it's simple as that.
Yeah.
From the smallest little argument with your wife or partner, whoever, to mentors on a boardroom, like getting upset with each other for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And it's just all about how you bring yourself, your authentic self, telling the true story to the table. Why would you do anything else other than that? I don't know, but that's what Taylor does. Oh, Tay. You get to know her. Yeah. Right. You get to know her a little bit more. Yeah. You know, because of the communications.
Right.
And at the end of the day,
vulnerability and authenticity and just sort of saying, I'm a human, and you as a human, if you'd like to join this collective in this community and engage in dialogue with not just me, but with the whole community, there's something here for you.
And I think a lot of businesses are missing that. Right, I think they've lost that.
You brought up a good point though, where they just pick up their jobs that they want to do, and they do their best at their jobs. Right, that you bring up that great point, but that's an intentional thing that you just like being the president of the AMA. You can't just be like, Tom, you do this. I'm like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you thrive? Why do you wake up in the morning? And then let's figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah. And you are super good at that, by the way, Mike. Just to make this about Mike for a minute.
Oh my gosh!
Mike was one of the first people that I reached out to before I even moved to Charleston, because I belonged to the AMA in Boston and found a real sense of shared community and purpose there. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder if Charleston has that same thing. So I reached out to Mike and I was like, how can I get involved? Like, what do y'all have going on? Yeah. So Mike was an ambassador to and on behalf of Charleston before I even set foot here. Wow. So just shout out to you, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
That says something.
And now we're besties. Now I'll text him the day before. Will you please?
Yeah. Right. But about this, because I think this sort of bleeds into the moment we're in right now, right? People are sick of the authenticity. They're sick of being talked at. How does that relate to where we are in time right now, and does that affect your work,
especially in the political space?
Yeah. Let me just say, don't turn this off thinking we're going to get political, because everything is political, right? I just want y'all to hear me out on this.
Yes,
let's have this conversation. Part of this is listening, what we just talked about, right?
This is nonpartisan.
We are, and that was my next comment is, we are a nonpartisan organization. That means that we do not support or endorse any political party or candidates.
Amen.
I think, amen, and also, we've confused nonpartisanship with values and issues, right? You can, again, I'm going to go back to branding. We have branded certain issues as Republican, Democrat, Independent, Democrats, socialists, we're hearing a lot right now, right? Progressive, whatever term you want to use. But at the end of the day, we've lost, I'm going to go back to listening and conversation of really understanding what our individual and core shared values are and what we stand for and what we believe everyone should have access to.
And we've also conflated nonpartisan with non-participant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of organizations and businesses have conflated nonpartisanship with, I just should stay silent.
Yep.
Which, no.
Yeah.
No. There has never been a moment in time where silence is the answer. I think this goes back to authenticity that we were just talking about. I'll talk about the political space in a minute, but people are craving realness. People are craving this feeling like they are part of something and like they see themselves in it and not being talked to or told. Listen, people can see fakeness a mile away, right? Fakeness is, I don't even know if that's a word, but we're gonna make it a word. Put it in the dictionary.
Oh, these AI posters, I can't tell the difference.
Oh, don't even get me started on the AI
something
posters.
That was created
I'm like,
by a
y'all.
human. Come on.
But even when someone says something, right, like this nonpartisan statement or whatever they think they're saying, and people see through that. And I think, where I am finding folks gravitating towards in terms of businesses, in terms of organizations, in terms of political candidates that are on the ballot, is those that are authentically them and unapologetically them. And at the end of the day, businesses need to be doing the same, right? They need to be unapologetically who they are. And first of all, I would say you can't do that without knowing who you are. So for some businesses, that may be taking it to step back and saying, I got to do some reflection about who we are and who we want to be. I think a lot of businesses think they know who they want to be, but they haven't done that internal work of like, who are we? That's got to be step number one, right? And I think businesses would be more successful if they stepped into that right now. I mean, I'm seeing it with businesses across the country that are booming because they are unapologetically who they are and what they stand for.
I've been, that's a very real topic today. I have been going down the rabbit hole of Taco Bell's social media today. Talk about a brand that is unapologetically themselves. They took lettuce off their menu and they're like, we're here for everybody. $1 burritos for everybody. And people are eating it up, literally eating it up. Right. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, and I think we also live in this culture where we're so scared to get it wrong, right?
Correct.
Like, if I say the wrong thing, if I do the wrong thing,
I'm gonna get canceled.
Like, but you know what? Taco Bell's a great example, right? Like, listen,
Do you
got a
think
lot
you'll
of people
carry
spend
Taco
some
Bell?
time in their bathrooms, but they're like, we're gonna own this.
I would say their social media is performing better than Taylor Farms' social media at this current moment.
That's probably not an easy task at this point. No disrespect, but I'm not eating Taylor Farms anytime soon. But I think we're in this political season, right? And we have a massive election ahead of us across this country and in South Carolina, which I'm happy to speak to in a second. But we in this state have seen such a lack of authenticity in our candidates. And I'm seeing that start to shift. I am starting to see candidates across the South, but in South Carolina, not do the fancy TV ads, right? Not show up in the button down, the blue blazer that's like, I need to make a fancy statement after Lindsey Graham has passed away. They're like, listen, this is how I feel and this is what I am, right? I mean, I was watching this one candidate the other day. She's in her workout clothes. She's got a messy bun up. She's got one kid on the hip. She's got another that's begging. She's making lasagna and she's making calls for donations, right? Like she was making calls for donations earlier and someone had called her back and she put it on social media and I was like, that's it. People see themselves in that. They relate to that. And she's like, I am going to run for office because someone like me needs to advocate for people like me in this moment. It's not buttoned up. It's not fancy. It's not, branded. It's real. And I think that there is such an opportunity right now for those that are running for office or thinking about running for office to be so unapologetically and authentically yourself. And trust me, it will work. Trust me.
Yeah, enough of the polish and scripted talking points and
like looking straight at the camera and like, and I think we also think about politics and we have a lot of historical moments that are happening, right? And they're not good. They're not good moments in our history. But we don't have to make them as formal as we are making them in our statements and our addresses. Like, talk to me like you would talk to a friend when someone dies. Talk to me, talk to me like we're having it goes back to communication.
How you talk about it.
And I know people want that because we're on the ground 365 days a year across the state. People are begging for it. Yeah. So free advice if anyone's running for office. You can charge me later.
I thought my 10-year track might be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
my
also...
nickname is the mayor. A few people call me the mayor, nickname, but...
Well, my last name is Mayor.
You can't give yourself a nickname, Mike.
Yeah.
So
but you are the mayor. That's it. You are the mayor.
I like it.
But no, I was thinking about it because I feel like nobody's really stepping up to that point of being their true authentic self. Thinking about the civic duty and not other things.
Yeah.
Truly specifically the civic duty. Politics aside, nothing going on.
Totally.
What is going to be the best for us here in Charleston? Right?
Show me who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what I want. Show me who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
It may not be good, may be good, but show me who you are.
Right.
Show me who you are.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit into leadership.
Okay.
You mentioned learning disabilities early on in this conversation, and it's something that you and I have talked about plenty. How has that experience become, have you alchemized that into one of your greatest strengths? Can you talk more about that?
And what it is that you...
Yeah, so a wide range of various learning disabilities that have very scientific names that I would mispronounce, and everyone would be like, what the is that?
Right.
I was in 3rd grade, and I had an incredible teacher, Mr. Bremenstuhl, who realized something was a little different, and I wasn't catching things, right? I wasn't learning things the way that other students were. Yeah. And he went to my parents and said, I think I see something here that we might need to figure out. And I'm not to age myself, but this was before ADHD is what it is now. This was before medication was like the thing.
Yes.
And so they figured it out, and they went and got me tested, and I was able to get resources. And Mr. Bremenstuhl, this was also when class sizes were very different. He stayed with me 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. He moved up to make sure that he could figure out how to help me learn. And I went from Montessori school to public school, and I just drowned, right? I mean, it was just, my mom likes to say I can sew a button, but I couldn't do 5 times 5, which is still to this day very accurate. But I think up until really starting Be the Ones, I always saw my learning disabilities as an obstacle I had to overcome, right? Like, I have to overcome this. And with my learning disabilities, I've always had to figure out how to learn differently, right? Yeah. Growing up, my mom would take historical facts or things I needed to know for a test. She would turn them into a song, right? Or we would have some kind of creative way for me to remember things. And I have done that my entire life. I've always tried to think about things differently and find different creative ways to remember and learn and understand. And I started doing that very early on when I started this organization. Was, I could give you a page with 5 bullet points on what a coroner does, right? Or the 3 branches of government, or how our judicial system in this state works. You're probably not going to retain it unless you're really academically into that. Yeah. But if I can create a game out of it, if I can create a song out of it, can I make it fun and joyful? Can I make it an activity where we have to draw to learn? And I just started doing that for myself to try to grasp all this knowledge. I mean, this was not my background. I don't have a political background. I'm not a civics background. This wasn't something I've learned for 30 or 40 years or studied or have a degree in. And I started to just say, well, I'm doing this for myself, and then I'm going to put it out. And people were grasping onto it, right? People were like, oh, I can figure this out by the way that you're presenting this. And I think in terms of leadership, so often, this goes back to the authenticity conversation, I thought it was something I had to overcome, right, in this obstacle. And what I started to realize as I was incorporating my learning styles into the creation of Be the Ones was, I don't have to overcome it.
I was going to say a superpower.
I can use it.
It's a superpower.
It's my superpower. It's my greatest strength. And I think it also, this work is really hard. It's really messy. There's a lot of times where folks with communities, and we're never going to be able to meet their needs in the short term, right? Just the way that the systems and structure work, and you have to carry that with you. And it takes a lot of empathy to be able to do this kind of work. And I think stepping into this leadership role with the learning disabilities that I have and this life experience has made me a more empathetic leader in realizing that I can create spaces where people feel like they may not have belonged before, or they never saw themselves represented. And we can create that space together, and we can mold it and make it into what it could be. And so, I think it's my superpower now. I need to get a cape, though. That's my next...
100%. Please.
Next podcast, I'm coming in with a cape.
Next time we see you, Tom, at the karaoke bar.
Yeah.
You guys go catch up for karaoke.
Absolutely.
I'll create a song about it.
Well, I mean, that's an excellent opportunity to talk about karaoke. So that's how you and I met.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite karaoke song? And also you mentioned that Be the One has karaoke events. Like, how do people get involved with that?
Yeah. So I do not discriminate against karaoke songs unless they're like, Sweet Caroline or, which coming from Boston, I probably shouldn't say that, but it's true. The generic ones.
Yeah.
The one that I also have the worst voice. I mean, my music teacher basically told me I was going to pass music class in 8th grade if I lip sync. That she literally was like, if you lip sync, you will pass this class. I was like, understood.
Side note, I was at karaoke.
You've heard me sing.
Yeah, I have. I was at
He
karaoke
doesn't
at the
disagree with
Windjammer.
me. When you see this, he's like, yes, I have, and let's go to the next conversation.
Right. I'm not
Unapologetically, shoot, by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah. I was at karaoke at the Windjammer on Isle of Palms last night, and someone sang Sweet Caroline. And I outed myself as a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
So that was a whole nother thing.
It also shows my age. Shoot by Salt and Pepper is my
You
song.
bet.
So one of our big events, our most requested event every year is our karaoke night. And so we invite our elected officials. One of the things that we try to do is break this barrier that our elected officials are these high and holy, experts, which, by the way, no disrespect to any elected official. I'm not speaking on one specifically, but y'all, we are 10 times smarter than most of our elected officials. Let me just say that. And we try to remove those barriers, right? So we invite elected officials into a lot of our events and try to just create this community, right? Like they're human. They're just like us, this authenticity thing. Yeah. And so we do. We have our 4th birthday party on August 22nd at Meeting at 616, which is the OG Local 616. Talk about incredible third spaces and community building spaces. Dwayne, shout out, Meeting 616.
Okay.
Gem of Charleston.
Gotta go.
If you're interested, you can go to our website, betheones.org/events. Come join us. We do karaoke with First Wives Karaoke, local staples. There is a full snacks, drinks, all the things, and it's just a big old party, and it's
hot dogs?
fun.
Are there hot dogs?
Probably no hot dogs at this one, but we are having a potluck friend-raiser tonight that's hot dogs. So,
very good.
Yeah.
Very
Hot dogs
good.
is my favorite.
There is one other event that I wanted to put on your radar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know it. It's called Know Your Lawmaker.
I do.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
the Chamber.
Good. The Chamber's putting it together.
Yep.
You probably is on your radar.
Yeah.
Just thought about you, that's all.
Yeah, the Chamber does a bunch of really interesting events. They do one I think it's in January to kick off the year. A lot of our elected officials that come are our county council members. We've had our sheriff, our coroner,
that's great.
Mary Tinkler, our treasurer, Charleston County treasurer.
Now I'm curious.
Daniel Brownstein, Mount Pleasant Town Council. Wow. So it's really interesting to see like local folks come out and mingle with constituents and have some fun. And they sing too.
Now I'm very curious what Tim Scott's go-to karaoke song would be. Do you happen to know?
I think I'd have to have a different podcast.
That's
for
inside
that
news.
conversation.
That's inside news right there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work that you do is to provide people with on-ramps, I would say, to civic engagement. So what's one small action? Anyone who's listening to this, whether they're here, we've got a lot of listeners in Charlotte and Atlanta, and then up in throughout the country here. What's one small action everyone who's listening could take this week to become more engaged locally? And maybe that's in civics, maybe that's just to get involved in their community. But what's
You're going to think I'm crazy with what I'm going to say. But
I know
really
you're crazy for certain.
You guys are friends.
Yeah.
I need y'all to go out and talk to someone. Go out and talk to someone you don't know. Maybe you're walking your dog and say hello to the other person that's walking your dog. Ask the barista when you get your morning coffee how they're doing. Hey, what's up? How are you? Did you watch the World Cup? Who are you rooting for?
Yeah.
Anyone. Could be the grocery store worker. I don't care who it is. I need you to engage in at least one conversation. Okay. I need you to listen to what they say and respond back to that, right? Yeah. I truly believe that if we get back to talking to each other and building those relationships and creating this sense of community, that's the strongest tool we have in our toolbox right now.
We've gotten so far away from that.
We have moved so far away from just talking to each other.
Yeah.
And I say it is literally that easy, and it is literally that hard for folks to be able to have one conversation with us. So for some people, they may say, well, I've already talked to 5 people online. Someone like me who talks to everybody.
In the comment section on Facebook.
I'm like, hey, everyone, want to come over hot dogs later? And for some people, that may be hard and a challenge, but I want everyone to do that because if you think about it, it's that compound effect, right? And you never know where that conversation is going to lead, and don't expect an outcome right away, right? Don't expect for that barista to give you a free coffee because you asked how their day was, but you're building relationship and you're building that sense of authenticity and community.
It's opening yourself up.
Yes,
Just be
absolutely.
open to having that small talk conversation with your neighbor. It's going to happen. Just do it.
It doesn't have to be dicey. It doesn't have to be political. It can literally be,
Hey,
how was your morning?
does this conversation now count for my one time?
No.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna challenge you guys to say. See, we
you
knew
don't need
each
to challenge
other.
me because I'm the guy like you.
Yeah, I'll talk to everyone.
I'll talk to my wife. Is like,
Yeah.
please, just stop.
Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody. I'm like, oh no.
I
won't.
challenge everyone to do it and then sit with what that feels like.
We've been at the grocery store for 7 hours.
Yeah,
Mike.
I
It's
won't
time to
invite
go.
him to dinner. Maybe.
I know some of my friends do not like going to dinner with me because, like, you talk to everyone.
Everybody.
I'm like, well,
just be open to having that small talk, you know,
bet.
and
Yes.
getting to know people.
small talk leads to big talk over time.
We're the same. Well, you're way better than me, so I can't be the same. Be the ones.
Yeah.
I love that.
Be the ones.
So, Kate,
I love that.
back to your background a little bit,
Yeah.
because you, like me, have a blended background of nonprofit and for-profit.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what have both worlds sort of gotten wrong about leadership?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there's two things. I think the first is they try to be the hero.
Yeah.
The organization, the business tries to be the hero.
The flawless hero, too.
Yeah, the
Right?
flawless hero.
No
Yeah.
scars. Like everything's
So
airbrushed.
true.
Yeah, the flawless hero, and,
Yeah.
and they've centered themselves over the community, whoever the community is, the audience.
Yeah.
And I see that across brands, businesses, local, national, and organizations. And then I think the second is they create for what they think is the next big thing or the need or that will sell or this, product is better because, without actually listening and talking with community. I mean, imagine a brand that's selling, I don't know, whatever you want to sell. Instead of launching with some fancy pitch deck, goes out and has 100 coffees with people in community. And they're like, all right, well, we can come back and say, this was actually what community wanted or needed. What would the product look different? Probably. Would the mission look different? Probably. And I'm not saying organizations and businesses. I do know there are organizations and businesses that do that, but I don't think enough do. And again, it goes back to them being the hero and not the community being the hero, right? That's it. That's it.
Yeah. And also sort of taking that data, that crowdsourced information, and having a vision for how to not only provide that group with what they need today, but sort of skate to where the puck is going, right?
100%.
And sort of how to lead them based on what we know about them. Where can we get them, right? Sort of that. I make too many references to Steve Jobs, and he's not my favorite human being. But like,
it's okay. I talked about Taylor Swift.
What he did was visionary because he did start with a lot of data about a lot of people and how they were using computers, for example, and what have you, and then imagined a world that they could go to, right? And provided a user experience and to your point earlier, an easier on-ramp to get to that technology where they didn't have to know how to code and all these things. It's just how can we simplify that roadmap to the vision where we imagine that people could go.
Right. I'm not a hiker. I'm not much of an outdoorsman, if you will. But I think about hiking, right? Like when you go on a hike, you're not hiking because you're signed up for the guide that's going to take you on this massive hike, right? That's going to get you from point A to B. You're doing it because you want to get to the top of the summit, right? You want to see the vision. You want to be like, I got to the top of wherever you're going.
Yeah, I want to see that waterfall.
And I want to see Mount Everest, whatever it is. Hopefully, not many people want to go Mount Everest ain't safe, but people aren't buying in because of the guide necessarily, right? They're going for that vision and that mission, that utopia, if you will. And I think leaders need to recognize that our role is to facilitate the journey to get them there. That we aren't the get them there, right? We aren't the summit. We aren't the vision. We aren't the waterfall.
Are you the Sherpa?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I'm not
like
going
that
to carry anyone's bags on my back.
Well,
but
okay, sans the.
But that's it, right? And I think.
Look, I'm a huge
hear
Tenzin
you.
Norgay fan. Like, were it not for him, Shackleton never would have made it to the top. Like, just it wouldn't have happened. Shackleton would have died 1,000 deaths on the way up were it not for the local knowledge and the lived experience of Tenzing Norgay. Like,
Yes.
it's just not going to happen.
That's it.
So
That's your role as the leader.
And that servant leadership is really, to your point, very lacking.
Yeah.
So great.
What about the future? Is it, how are we looking with our younger generation? I'm sure you see, I would hope, an influx from them.
Yeah, I think I do we do a lot of programming with young people, and I always end with this slide that says, "You are not the future, you are the now." And I think we've all heard it, right? We've heard people say like, "Oh, I'm so hopeful for the future. We've got young people as our future," blah blah blah. No, they're not our future, they're our now, and it's our responsibility to invest in them right now and give them those opportunities to lead right now. And we find that when you do that, they are more engaged than ever
I'm
to
signing
step
Henry and
into
Jackson
it.
up right now. Sorry, I'm signing my boys up. They're 10-year-old boys, so they're gonna
Let's go.
be a part of it. But keep going. I'm
sorry. I think there's also this generation. I think there's two pieces. One is you got to give them the mic and you got to let them lead and you got to let them talk and you got to listen to them. I think we've made a lot of assumptions of the younger generations of who they are and what they stand for and what they don't stand for. They're disengaged or not incorporated.
A lot of assumptions, right?
A lot of assumptions. I go back to the same dinner analogy with Tom inviting me for dinner, right? Like, we get pissed they don't vote, we get pissed they don't get activated, but we've done nothing to help or support them. And I think, we found this a lot the last couple of years, 2 years specifically, is you got to understand what they've grown up in. And I think what we have found is that a lot of older folks have said, well, this president or this administration or that administration, they weren't alive then. They don't know. They did not live through it, and if they were alive, they were one or two. I mean, even some of them who are 18 years old, all they've known is our current administration, right? In terms of being an adult in that, or in their early 20s.
Okay.
And so we talk to them like they should know better, or they need to know these moments and times that we've lived through with that they haven't. Their needs are different. They're living up a very different time than we are. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone until senior year of college.
Not just technology,
so
but
technology. And
leadership.
again, I'm going to go back to this moment of communication, right? They're technology focused, they're online, and COVID was huge for them, right? I mean, they lost their childhood wonder and silliness and joyfulness of their childhood years in COVID. And I think we have a huge opportunity right now to rebuild that for them if we're willing to create these spaces for them to feel like they're part of community, to feel like they can speak up and say something. But we have to be willing to take the step back and give them that power and know that it may not be exactly how we see it or we have done it, but that's okay, because they're building it authentically for themselves and their peers.
We have seen that as an organization. We have had a generational shift in leadership within the Charleston AMA.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
And that has been very, very interesting to watch and participate in, and is going to usher this organization into a new era.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that resonates very much. I would imagine with both of us, Mike.
Correct.
Well, I
Correct.
think too, and listen, I'm not going to say that this is no endorsement of candidate or political party, but this is a fact and a reality, is that for so long, because we're in election year, we have seen our politicians a certain way, right? A lot of politicians in the state are of older generations, and majority of them are white, right? And that is not reflective of our state. That 55% of our state are women, 28% of our state are African American. We have a rising Latino population, and so and I'm not speaking this like from an analogy. This is what we hear from young folks is we've never seen leaders that look like us, right? From a demographics perspective, but also have the same lived experiences we do. And we are in an absolutely historic moment in South Carolina right now that literally we have never been in the history of our state. We have this kind of congruence of things happening. For the first time in 22 years, we have an open U.S. Senate seat. We have, for the first time in over 3 decades, every statewide office, from governor to commissioner of agriculture, is contested by both major parties. For the first time in 3 decades, 1994, every single House seat, South Carolina House seat, 124, are contested by both major parties. Now, keep in mind, in 2022 and 2024, 76% of our races in this state have been uncontested, meaning there's only one person on the ballot, right? So there's never been opportunity of choice.
Yep.
And then you have this first time in the history of our state, where the majority of one major party's statewide candidates are African American and between the ages of 29 and 45. 2 of our 7 U.S. congressional seats, the candidates are 25 and 26 and African American. So talk about an opportunity that we have right now. This isn't about voting for one party or not. This isn't about who's going to win or what seat's going to flip. For the first time, South Carolinians are seeing themselves in positions of power and candidates that won in the primary. I mean, some of these candidates beat old white people in the primary, right? And so it is this groundswell of opportunity that we are seeing with young people right now that say, if they can make it out of a primary, first of all, if they can even run, and then they can make it out of the primary, I could do that too.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, I have the chills because there is no other greater feeling than someone believing that they could do something.
Yes. And
they can.
That. Yes.
And they see it.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes that on-ramp is just as easy as saying, that candidate looks like me. That
Yes.
candidate has a similar background to mine. Yes. Versus that candidate is a septuagenarian or an octogenarian
Yes.
who came up in an era that I really know very little about.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially those words you just used.
Yeah.
I know little about. What did you just say?
70s.
I figured it out.
They're in their
but,
80s,
oh
right?
gosh.
Well, and again, this is no endorsement of candidates
Yeah.
with Might Be the One's hat on, but Jermaine Johnson, who's running for governor, he is a College of Charleston graduate. He is a former basketball player.
Right.
He openly talks about being homeless and how he transitioned from these hard points in life to where he is now. And I go back to what we were talking about earlier. There's that authenticity and that realness. Yeah. And so even if someone didn't have that same life experience that he had, he is so real about the struggles that he had that everyone in this state has had some struggle in their life where they didn't think they were going to get to the next chapter.
Sure.
And they can relate to that. And they can believe that, okay, if he got from being homeless to where he is now, maybe I could too. Yeah. And I think that's it.
Yeah, and important to point out that is not an endorsement
It's
of
not
any particular
endorsement. It is
candidate.
fact.
Yeah.
Go watch his campaign ads. It's all
and
there.
an analysis of a candidate's marketing,
Yeah.
which I think
Well,
is...
this is the last thing I will say.
Yeah.
Is like we don't tell these stories enough, right? Like, and I'm saying this unapologetically as a nonpartisan organization. This is a fact. You can find it all on the internet, right? I think businesses don't want to say these things because then it looks like an endorsement, right? Or
Sure.
we're not gonna host a coffee with him because it might look like we're supporting him. Stand in who you are and do it anyway, right? Say the facts of the moment that we're in and use this opportunity as a business, as a brand. Build a marketing strategy around it.
To that point, I think Haney does a good job being authentic. Mayor of Mount Pleasant. No? Yeah. I mean...
No, I do. I'm not as familiar with...
Yeah, I think he does a good job
yeah.
communicating. I think he does a good job being authentic in the civic.
I feel
area.
like he broke through a barrier, especially during the redistricting vote, to say like
he was on the front lines with us in the redistricting fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
As was Miko Pickett, Mullins mayor, first ever black woman mayor, Mullins, South Carolina. As was Daniel Brownstein, Mount Pleasant Town Council.
Yeah.
We saw a couple other mayors and municipal leaders in that fight with us.
Yeah.
Well, so we have like 15 minutes. We'll talk about that real quick.
Redistricting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. Wow.
Yeah.
See
How are
these
you? Are
gray
you
hairs?
okay? I mean, yeah, you're...
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten some sleep since then, but Lord, let me tell you, it's 1 month after. I've stopped saying at the beginning of every month, well, maybe this month will be a little quieter, because every single month since April has been something
You've
around
been
here.
saying that since I've known you.
You could ask Tom. I say, well, maybe this month will be a little slower. So we had the great privilege of being part of an organization called Southern Coalition for Social Justice Solve Network, which is organizations across the South that work to protect and figure out how we keep our elections free and fair, and we expand voting rights across the South. So we were convening in New Orleans, ironically, to plan the next 5 years, the exact time that the Supreme Court decision Calais was decided. Wow. Literally announced 30 minutes before we were supposed to start this conference. And I will never forget that morning, because I was in the room with the individuals that brought that case to the Supreme Court, with the organizations in Louisiana that fought on the front lines for that fight, and many, many fights beyond that, and realizing that this was not just about one state, one community. This was all our fight. And so, did I think South Carolina was going to take this up? Yeah, absolutely. Everyone was like, no, South Carolina's not going to do this. We have 6 days of legislative session left. There's no way we're going to touch this. No. And I don't expect anyone to know that. I mean, I am in the weeds with the legislative session and what's happening there. That was not going to be the case. And we saw over the course of basically 3 weeks, our legislators make the choice, which I want to use that word very intentionally. They made the choice to prioritize redistricting, drawing new maps for congressional districts in the middle of our election cycle of 2026. And I say choice intentionally because they had 6 days of session left.
And
instead of figuring out our budget, which, by the way, we still don't have a budget in end of July. Well, it may have happened this morning. I don't doubt it. Instead of figuring out how we could provide free lunch or breakfast to our kids this summer or in school next year, or figuring out how we could make sure that health insurance is available to all of us. I don't know, anything, right? Anything that could actually serve our communities. They made the choice to say, we're not going to do any of that, and we're going to focus on redrawing these maps in the middle of an election cycle. And they lost. And we went through, the whole, if you go to our website, betheones.org/fair maps, we have a whole timeline. And if you look at the timeline over that 3-week period, it is wild to see how much they tried. I mean, they tried to use every tool in the toolbox. And a lot of the time, I think, well, let me first say this. South Carolina was the only state in the South that held off redistricting.
Right.
The only state. We don't get a lot of wins in this state. So that is monumental to say. And the reason that Georgia then weeks later were able to hold off maps was because of the work and the organizing we did in South Carolina. And so a lot of the times we talk about winning, and that is a win that we held that off. But we also define, a lot of the work we do is trying to define how we use our power outside of the State House, right? I say that power doesn't happen in the walls of the State House. It happens when we bring the State House out of communities. Most people can't or don't want to go to Columbia during legislative session. I sure as heck don't, but I have to.
I was just there yesterday.
But I do. I take that one for the team. Yeah. But the final straw that got them to say we aren't going to pass this wasn't the people that were in the lobby, wasn't the people in the gallery, wasn't the number of phone calls or emails they got that day or the protests outside. All those things that led up to it, it mattered. All of those things mattered. The 200,000 South Carolinians that we organized in 3 weeks across us and our coalition partners, all of that mattered. But the final straw was that they saw people go vote on the first day of early voting, which was coincidentally the day they were going to take the vote on this bill.
Right.
And the number of people that they saw, we had already broke every record by lunchtime, and they said, we can't do this because we're disenfranchising voters that have voted this morning. So when you think that your power only lies within those walls, it doesn't. We have so much power that we can leverage and use. I think that's a lesson as organizers in the state of where are those pressure points, right? We're not always going to have that perfect equation of a bill on a first day of early voting. But that was it. That was the pressure point for them. And we made it through. But we're not done. They've already signaled that they're going to redraw maps when they're back in January, which here we are.
The fight begins anew. I want to switch gears, stay on a similar topic, something that's still very high visibility within this state and involved a massive amount of coordination. I want to talk about Be the Ones and your individual role in bringing the Walk for Peace and the monks and their
awesome.
dog
You were part of that?
to South Carolina. She wasn't part of it. She was the linchpin of it. And I'd love to have you tell our listeners that story of the call you got and how you mobilized and how you made it happen, because this is a cool story.
Yeah, that was this year too, by the way.
Yeah.
What a year it's been. Yeah, so I think this goes back to relationships, right? And this goes back to building alongside and thinking about building outside of state lines. So we have incredible partners all across the state we work with. They were not really quote unquote famous, right? People hadn't really caught on to them until they got to Georgia, and then kind of blew up when they got to Georgia. So we had I made a leadership decision that we were going to shut down right before Christmas. We were not going back until January 6th, like no questions asked. We were not working. We had a very rough end of last year. And I get this call that was like, I don't know, December 27th. That was like, you guys, they're looking for a community partner to host them as they come through South Carolina. It's got to be you. And I was like, no. We closed our office. I made the leadership decision. We're closed until the 6th. And 2 days later, I got the call again being like, you really need to.
Could you please?
Yeah. What do you need? And I talked to our team and I said, all right, let's do this. And that was 48 hours. They arrived in South Carolina. And we were able to, because we are so well connected across the state with interfaith coalitions and organizations and with our law enforcement, we were able to shepherd them from when they crossed into South Carolina, brought them to Columbia. I mean, they stopped all along the way, got them to Columbia. We held a public walking over the Gervais Bridge, and then a big event on the State House grounds. We had over, I think, 11,000, 12,000 people come out to see them, and then shepherd them all the way. And then the cool thing was we got to hand them off to our partners in North Carolina. So we literally got to bring them in and then got to take them out of the state. And it was such a beautiful mass coordination of churches, businesses, law enforcement, community organizations. Everyone and anyone wanted to come out and help and be part of this. And I think it's such a statement of when we center hope, when we center goodness, when we center opportunity, people will come out for it versus the opposite of what a lot is what we do, right? For the first time, we were for something, not against something, which a lot of times we're against things. And it was just beautiful to see community. I remember we were in the State House, and they give out these peace bracelets, and with 12,000 people there's no way everyone was going to get a bracelet. All these people were hoping for it. They brought flowers for them, and the monks had gone into the State House, and I looked down at the State House grounds, and people were giving each other their flowers instead of giving the flowers to the monks. And I was like, that's it, right? Yep. I mean, this is the essence of who we are as South Carolinians. Yeah. And it was just such an honor to be part of that, to be able to be the official state partner to host them in South Carolina. And I'll never forget it. It was, and their dog.
I want you to take a victory lap here, because this is not just about the public events, right? This is also about the role in logistics you played to facilitate their walk and change their route so that it went through Columbia, if I'm not mistaken. But also line up where they stayed, line up food, line up interactions with civic leaders,
we had
veterinarians.
Physical therapists come out. I mean, it was...
Podiatrists, right?
We had massage therapists come out. We had vets come and massage the dog. The dog actually had to have
surgery.
I think ACL surgery here in Charleston.
Yeah.
Figuring out who the vet was that was going to do that surgery and be able to get the dog back to them at the end of it was a lot of mass coordination
while coordinating all the press availabilities and speaking to the press and making sure that all the political figures had a sense of belonging and engagement on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Kate,
job well done.
How big is your team?
Thank you.
How big is your team?
We are 3.
Oh, so you did all that with 3 people?
Yeah.
Sure, maybe. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Some key volunteers in there and all
tons
that,
of volunteers. I mean, the volunteers were out of the
and community partners.
And community partners, and even law enforcement were working across federal, county, state jurisdiction. I mean, we had multiple law enforcement say to us, this has never happened in this state ever. Like, we've never worked with county to county. Like, we've never worked in this coordination. Dawn Staley was there, and then she turned to me, she goes, I can't get this many people to show up for my ball game championship. Like, hire me next time you win the championship. I'll get your marketing shirt.
Take a note from me, Dawn.
Dawn, you do ball, I do people.
Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this lightning round.
We're going to do a lightning round.
Nervous.
We're going to do a lightning round, and then one final question, and then a plug for how people can get a hold of you. So let's get to it. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Odd Duck. New location in Hampton Park, Park Circle, Somerville. Iced dirty chai latte.
Iced dirty chai latte.
Odd Dog is called.
Odd Duck is. Ooh.
Live music or quiet mornings?
Oh, both. Live music.
Mm-hmm. Oysters, raw or roasted?
Oysters. I am the oyster eating champion of Washington, D.C., 2007. Raw oysters. All day, every day. Cold water. No disrespect, South Carolina, North Carolina. Oh, Tom's face right now.
Yeah, I'm still taking this in.
It's not like the Nathan's hot dog contest.
Among royalty
I'm still taking this in 2007.
I should have worn my sash.
Favorite Charleston restaurant?
I love food. I'm going to go, I can't pick one. Jackrabbit, Philly, and Leon's.
Right on. Nonprofit more people should know about.
South Carolina Housing Justice Network.
Wow. One leadership habit you never skip.
Sorry, they've changed enough. SC Tenant Union.
Oh.
They swapped their name within last year. I still go by the OG name.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. One leadership habit you never skip.
writing everything down. That also might be my age, but hey.
One word that defines great community.
Silliness. Didn't expect that one, did you?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't. It's on brand, but I didn't expect it. If you could have dinner with any changemaker, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh gosh.
I can't come up with one either.
Can I give two? Because two are coming to mind.
Sure.
Dolly Parton and John Lewis.
Excellent.
Maybe together. That would be so fun.
Wow.
Add Jackrabbit Philly.
Yeah, or Leon's.
Yeah.
I would also add in there Betty White.
Why not?
I would like to do dinner with the three of them together. Oh God, that would be
That'd be
fun.
great
and then
cover
take them to karaoke.
Epic.
Can you
and
imagine?
turn it into a podcast.
Oh my God, that's too
There
bad.
I mean, you
R.I.P.
got to bring that to the people.
One still alive.
Yeah.
Oh God, that would be fun.
If there's one celebrity that reminds that reminds me of my grandmother, it's Betty White. Like, imagine being
What an
raised in
icon.
part by Betty
Oh
White.
my
Like,
God.
just
Oh
awesome.
my God, Golden
Awesome.
Girls forever.
Yeah. Wrap up question, Mike.
Oh no, I don't. What?
All right,
No,
so-
here we go.
Yeah.
A book that everyone should read. You gave me a book already. Bowling
Yeah.
Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
every guest on this podcast, we ask them for one marketing or leadership lesson. What's one thing you challenge every marketer, every business owner, every community leader listening today to do differently? The question here says starting tomorrow. How about starting today?
And you've helped us a little bit, but like, be open.
Yeah.
Have a conversation. But
My answer was going to be different, but I'm going to switch it up.
Yeah.
I think we need to stop asking how do we reach more people, but how do we engage more people? How do we worry less about the follower count, the metrics, the data,
The
and
targeting.
more about do people feel like they belong?
Yeah.
And do people feel like they're part of something and building that community
that's it.
and shifting that mindset?
Yeah. Excellent. Give us your coordinates. How do people get a hold of
Yeah.
you? How do they find out more about Be the Ones online
You can
or on
always
socials?
find me at Leon's and Jack Affiliate. I'm there all the time. So our website is betheones.org, betheones.org. You can sign up to volunteer if you feel so inclined to make a donation. We are going to be raising $25,000 in the month of August for our birthday. I'd love to get a kickstart to help us get it there. Come join us at our party on August 22nd. If you want to learn more about our work, if you want to partner, if you're curious about joining us in rebranding democracy and rebuilding the marketing strategy, reach out. You can find all of our contact information on there. We are on all social channels at Let's Be the Ones, LETSBETHEONES. And yeah, if you want to chat, send us an email. I would love to have coffee, oysters, whatever that looks like. And I love meeting fellow Charlestonians. And if you're not in South Carolina, but you are looking for organizations like Be the Ones, let me guarantee you that they exist all over this country. You do not need to start something from scratch. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. If you live in another state and you're curious about organizations to tap in with, whether they're democracy, housing justice, reproductive justice, whatever that looks like, send us an email on the website and we'll send you a list of organizations that you should get involved with in your local community.
Awesome. Cate Mayer, thank you so
Tom.
much.
Yeah.
Mike, always a pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, real quick though.
Yeah.
If Tom, are you going to the party, to the birthday party, to Be the Ones birthday
Mike,
party?
it's karaoke. It supports Kate. It
It's
supports
already in his
Be the Ones.
calendar.
It supports civic engagement.
I knew
You
that.
bet your boots
I
I'll
knew
be
you were
there.
going to say that. You guys don't know this, but he is a talented singer. So if you guys want to
Tom is the
hear,
best.
Tom K.
I am a committed singer.
Oh,
I don't know if
whatever.
I'm talented.
You're,
Oh, Tom, I've heard you sing karaoke. You're
Kate
talented.
says you're talented. I believe
And
Kate.
that's not in relation to me because that's not even a like.
So hey
same scale.
friends,
Karaoke
come out to the
means-
birthday party.
means a lot
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, for
Support
sure.
Be the Ones,
Yeah.
and then hear our old boy croon over here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe
Kate
we
Mayer,
do a live podcast and karaoke together one time.
we've
you wanna
done
do
it
it
on
on the road?
location before.
Yeah, just finish.
Yeah.
Dig south.
Yeah, might be a little bit of background
I like it.
noise, but we can get around that.
That's what. Yeah. Anyways.
All right,
Thanks,
friends.
Kate.
Thank you so much
That
for
was
having
awesome.
me. I love,
Oh my
love
gosh.
being here with y'all
what a
today.
great conversation.
Yeah, this was great.
Let's
Thank
do it
you so
again
much.
soon.
Good pick,
All right.
Tom. Good pick.
Sounds good.
Good
Awesome.
pick.
All right,
Bye,
friends.
everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.